So
I guess was it starting to get like autumn at around that time?
yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was just last October, so it was 60 something degrees, 65 degrees. I've been training in Florida all summer since May, and it is always in from May till who knows when. It's always 90 degrees plus 100% humidity, always. And I'm out there in 90-degree weather, heat. I don't wait till nighttime. I'm out there. I hired a coach from upstate New York who runs triathlons and Ironmans and all that. I hired him. He guided me through, told me what to do. I followed everything to the T, and I was good. But when I got to Chicago, you know, it was 65 degrees. To me, that's awesome because I've been running in 105 degrees for 5 months. So 65 degrees, I'm motoring along just fine. But there are people that gassed out, that quit. I learned like 3-4 weeks later that a lot of people cheated. They cut corners and to shorten their time. They got busted. I'm like,
Of course.
why would you enter a major marathon and then screw it up for yourself? That's embarrassing. I'm no spring chicken, but if I'm out there running in 105-degree heat in the rain, I traveled to North Carolina to run some mountains and stuff. It rained like 3, 4, 5 days I was there. It never. When I ran in Florida, it didn't rain once. I was begging for rain because I was just so hot all the time. But I'm like, here I am again, busting my ass, and people want to take corners. So, answer your question, which was really, I don't know why I got off on this tangent. I apologize. It was about 65 degrees.
No, it's good entertainment value too. That's for sure.
I have my little. Let me see if I can show you here, just to show anybody. I think I'm bullshitting. There I am. Can you guys see that? There's my marathon.
Oh, you got the picture and everything
Yeah.
too.
So
Actually took it.
there it is.
All right, he's got proof. He's got proof.
I got
we'll go with that.
there.
All right.
I mean, not that people care. Like, do really people care? No. But Chicago was
With the
pretty
camera.
cool. Chicago was really, really nice. I enjoyed it. The people were great. The city was excellent. I did, before I got sick, we went on a little, like a boat tour around the little area and walked around the subway. Everything was great. Coming from New York City, this was awesome. I had a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's already interrupt. Can you move the camera to your right?
Oh,
It's got cutting you off a little bit.
is that better?
There you go. Much better. Because we already talked about the jump set. We can at least cut it off a little bit. So.
Yes, that's fine.
No, it's actually funny you went on that tangent too, because I was in Nashville in October last year too. I was with my parents. That was the first time I actually had been to Nashville. And I pretty much tell myself I went through 2 years without getting COVID. I got the vaccinations when I needed to. That was a little bit of a strange feeling too, because it felt like my spine was tingling a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it all worked out in the end. But regardless, after Nashville, me and my dad got real sick and we tested positive for COVID. And I'm telling myself, I went through 2 3/4 of a year, because March I always consider was like when it officially started in 2020.
Yes.
Because that's when I started working from home for my main job. And I kept telling myself I went 2 3/4 of a year without getting it. And here I got it, walking around Broadway on Nashville.
Right. Trying to have a good time.
Having a good time and bar hopping and seeing like all these bluegrass, country, and mixture of somewhat rock, because I know it was a little heavy at times, but it spares nobody.
Rockabilly.
To say the least.
No, everybody gets it. It's just a matter of when, I guess.
Yeah. Tragically, yes. But it's good to see it worked out for you too. And I imagine it was pretty scary at first too, because I know how it feels about vomiting and that sort of thing. It's a really unpleasant experience.
I had no idea. I mean, I'm thinking I have food poisoning. I'm not at home. I'm in Chicago. I'm in a hotel. I have to run the next day. I'm feeling miserable. My wife's like, "You're gonna make it?" I'm like, and she knows me. If I'm breathing, I'll crawl 26.2 miles. I work my ass off for this marathon. COVID's not stopping me. The only thing that's stopping me is death, and that may happen. But if it doesn't happen, I'm crossing that finish line. So it wasn't easy. I don't like to run. She likes to run. She's a runner. She travels. She's going to Chicago again next year. This year. She travels all over the country to do these marathons. I don't run. I run for mental strengthening, for conditioning, for armoring my mind so I can get through tough times. That's just my mentality. It's not for everybody. I do hard things on purpose. I follow Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL guys like that, David Goggins. I have that kind of mentality. And again, it's not for everybody, but it works for me. And I said, okay, let me do something that's hard, that I can't do, and I'm going to be suffering all summer. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll run a marathon in Chicago. What a brilliant idea.
And I'm trained in 100-degree sort of weather in Florida
every day. And what happens is my coach, he's got it's an app called Training Peaks, and we link up. And I'll send him snapshots because he can see everything. He can see my heart rate, how fast, all these things. And I'll send him snapshots of what the weather is like. Because he'll ask me, or it'll be like, you can put a message in, like, how is the weather? And I'll always show him a screenshot of what the weather is. So he knows I'm not bullshitting. 107, heat index 112. I'm out there. I don't care. If I die, like Rocky. If he dies, he dies. Whatever. But I got through it, and it was cool at the end. Once I knew I could finish, I'm fine. Because I don't like to run. I do other things for hobbies. Running is not one of them. But running is what I need to do to keep this tough and strong so I can stay on the goals that I need in life.
I see. That's good to know because I've mainly just run on treadmills, to be honest. And I get like 2 miles in about 20 minutes, but I think mainly I just like to walk outside. So I think even in Florida, I probably wait till it's somewhat cooler because I imagine even still in the late evening, it's still probably humid outside. It feels like I'm so hot. That sort of thing.
Yeah, at nighttime, even at 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'm not even kidding. It's still 90, or the humidity's 96. It's miserable. Yeah, you have to condition yourself. I didn't just jump out of the walk out the door and start running 20 miles. I had to condition myself. But and then during that time, I didn't do any drum covers because it was such a full-time job to eat right, to run, my schedule. I'm lifting weights, I'm running, and then I'm still teaching martial arts. I'm still teaching, and I'm training, and I'm learning. I'm doing all these things. I didn't have any time. So I said to myself, if I do Chicago, I'm going to do one and done. Because I know how long it takes to train. It takes 5 months, a half a year, to train for a full marathon correctly. Correctly means you don't dehydrate, you don't die, you're not having cardiac arrest, your blood pressure doesn't go through the roof correctly. And 6 months, I didn't play drums. I fiddle around, but I didn't do any covers. And that kind of bothered me because this is me. Chicago is not me. I just did it as, okay, bucket list, make sure I'm mentally strong. Okay, check. Now I work on something else off that list, but I don't want it to take a half a year of my life to accomplish. You know what I mean? In 6 months, I could be banging out drum videos, or even if I didn't do drum videos, there's so many more lessons I'm working on and other things that I'm doing. But for that 5 months, May to October, Brian, all I did was stretch, roll, eat, sleep at a certain time, get up at a certain time, hydrate a certain way, and run. That's all I did. I was like the running man.
Yeah.
Which is an old, thank you. But that's an old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man. It's old school. It's got some cheesy lines, but it's kind of a cool movie, The Running Man.
I heard it referenced in actually a comedy show, so I know what you're talking about,
okay,
too. I've never seen it, but I at least know what you're referencing.
Yeah,
so.
you look back now, it's cheesy, but at the time, who cares? I think it was like 88, 89, 87, whatever year it was.
They didn't have the CGI sort of things.
It's not as good as it is now.
Absolutely. All right. So you did mention about Snapchat and some of the other social medias. I guess strictly in YouTube, when did you start your channel? And was there something you hope to achieve with it?
No, I mean, I just wanted people to maybe appreciate some of the different styles or different bands that I put my drum covers to. There's no achievement of well, I hope to get 10,000. I don't even know if I have 100 people that have subscribed. I think I have less than 100. And the channel's been up and running, I think, like 2 years now. You know, like I started slow because I didn't know what I was doing. And then, like I said earlier in our conversation, Eric had reached out to me. And then I started to gather, you know, I did some research and reconnaissance. What do I need to make this a little bit more appealing? Oh, I needed this equipment. I needed these cameras. I needed to learn certain things. And, you know, it took a little time. I'm still not an expert. I mean, I see some of the Eric's got smoke, you know, smoke's coming through there. He's got all kinds of things going on. God bless him. The guy's awesome. But I don't have the time, and I don't know if I even have the intelligence from a computer editing standpoint how to do it. It takes me a while to edit my videos because if it's a double bass song or it's got specific double bass parts, I want a camera angle on that. I want you guys to see that I'm doing the double bass part. It's not just, well, I don't know if he's doing it. You know, I want a side angle or a front angle. I want something where the audience, however 50, 80 members that are watching, that they can appreciate that the effort involved. So to my achievement was just to put out decent content. I hope you like it. If you do, that's great. If you don't, that's also great. I just want to do it mainly for me because earlier we've talked about it. I probably have on my computer, I'm not even lying, probably 5 million songs. And from anywhere, from the Bee Gees, and I did a Bee Gees cover, from the Bee Gees, you know, all the way to Annihilator, you know, everything in between. Like I said, I love Michael Schenker. I got a ton of Schenker tunes I wanted to, I just don't have the time. But I want to put out content where people are like, oh, I didn't know about that band, or I didn't know you could play that part, or that part didn't sound like it. This part wasn't on the original, but it sounds cool that way. I did a Loudness song cover. I did a Loudness song, Racing the Wind. I don't know how many people even like Loudness, and I got some guy from overseas. He couldn't get, he was beside himself. He loved it. I can't believe it. It's like, you know, so it was one of the more watched videos that I have. It's just random. I would have never expected Loudness. It's just a song that I like. I just put the content out for me. If you like it, great. If you don't, we're cool. I don't care, you know. And I just want to get different genres of music so other drummers can say, oh, okay, he can do more than just double bass, or he can do more than just straight, you know, he can mix it up, or he can add his own flair to it. I mean, that's part of why I take drum lessons, so I can have more tools in my toolbox, you know. And sometimes I'll hear a part in my head, and it's a double bass 30-second shuffle, or it's something going on that is not on the original, but I think it would sound cool, so I'll put it in there. And that's all. That's really all it's about. It's about, you know, if I get abducted by aliens or die tomorrow, there's at least one little footprint of me saying that I was on Earth. But the main goal, Brian, it's just to have fun, get some, you know, if you comment and I don't know you before and you comment, hey, that's a cool video, I'm like, oh, okay, it's Brian. Let me check what Brian's got. Oh, he's doing, you know, Death Angel. Well, I don't do blast beats. I mean, I can probably do them, but not well. And, you know, so that's not a strong suit. Let me go check out Death Angel by Brian, and I'll check that out. I'm like, all right. So then maybe the community grows a little bit more. You know what I mean? But then I'll change it around. I'll do some pop. I'll do Katy Perry. I added double bass to a Katy Perry song. It probably is illegal for Katy Perry to do double bass, but I do it anyway. You know? Katy Perry's drummer's like, God forbid I do double bass, but I'm like, fuck it, that works right there. So I do some double bass roughs on that particular. I just like the groove. It feels good. If a song feels good and I like it, I'm putting it on. I don't do special requests, but someone did ask me to do a Van Halen, and I think it was, it wasn't anything off the Dive It Down album. I believe I don't know exactly which one it was, but it was one of the earlier Van Halen tunes that someone asked me to do, and I found challenging. I was like, okay, I didn't really know Alex did all these little parts and changes. And so now that sparked my interest. Okay, let me see if I can do that. There's just some guys they're just ridiculous to emulate, and then try to maybe add my own flair. Twist the sticks, twirl the sticks, cymbal stops. Just for me. It's all for me. I'm just an ego. It's all about me. It's all about me. My videos, my YouTube.
It's my diary in a sort of way.
It's my little drum diary. It's to show, hey, look, I'm putting in effort. I'm trying real hard. I hope you like it. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to criticism. I'm not the best drummer in the world. There are guys that wipe my ass all day long. But I try and I give the best effort. And I try to pick songs that either are, holy shit, I didn't think about that song. You rocked it that way. Or I haven't heard that song in 15, 20 years. Holy shit. Or I never heard that song before. And I didn't even know that band existed. Sabaton is a great example because I follow Judas Priest and I follow Sabaton. But Sabaton did a Judas Priest cover, All Guns Blazing. And so I did a cover of Sabaton's cover. And you know, I thought it came out great. But basically for me, Brian, that's all it is. It's all about me.
You know, you just hope people don't hit the thumbs down or like give you that stupid. I know you talk about criticism, but you just don't want that stupid comment saying like,
yeah,
you're not even playing this completely right. It's be like, tell me why.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, again, I'm open for criticism, and that's why sometimes it takes me a long time to put out a video. Editing is really the main culprit, not the playing, but it's the editing. But I want to be able to put out a good product where you may not like it, but you may not like it for whatever reason. You don't like me, the drum set, whatever. You don't like the song, you don't like my fills, you don't like my face, whatever the reason is. And like you said, tell me why you don't like it. Don't just troll and say I don't like it. Okay, that's fine. You're entitled to that. I don't like everybody's stuff, but I'm a little bit more sensitive now to the people, to people's effort. If you're putting in a good quality effort and you're really trying, I'm giving you the thumbs up because I feel the vibe. Like you're making an effort. I feel that you're trying. You're not just sitting there going, you know, how many likes can I get? No, you're putting in effort. So I give you that. I don't like to trash people like I maybe thought of in my head once upon a time. You know, but I try to give the song justice. I won't do a song that I know I can't do just to trash the song. Like, I don't know what metal bands all have blast beats. I'm not going to do, like Lamb of God. There's a couple of Lamb of God songs I want to do, and he's got short little bursts of blast beats, and I'm going to practice them. I'm not going to tell you what songs they are. They're just going to have to find out. Stick to my channel. But,
I want to say Ghost Walking would be one.
Yeah,
but...
you know, I'm not telling you. I'm not giving it away. But
right,
but those little blast beats I can manage. But when you're doing them for long periods of time, like, you know, Randy Black, God bless him. He's the drummer from Jesus. Well, he was with Primal Fear and Annihilator, but he's in another death metal band now, and I apologize. But that guy can blast beat, you know, and some of these other guys can blast beat all day long. I'm not going to do a song injustice just to throw it out there because it's embarrassing, and I'd rather you not like the song because you didn't like how it came out versus you just shit the bed. You know, you shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Actually, I was going to say another drummer was John Longstrength from John Longstrength. I'm trying to pronounce his name right. I have a hard time trying to say it, but he's from the extreme metal band Origin, who's...
Yeah, those guys. Those guys, there's no way I can blast beat like them. They 260, you know, on the double bass all day long.
Gravity blast, yeah.
Yeah, it's just all day. Those type of bands, I don't even touch. I admire them. They got great technical for that. I just want to be more well-rounded. I want to have more tools in my toolbox. I want to be able to play a little bit. I'm not going to be great. I want to be a little bit of jazz, a little bit of fusion, a little bit of reggae, a little bit of Latin. I want to be able to add some flavor to my music. And that's why I take drum lessons. That's why I learn from whoever. You know, there was a guy, Pedro B. maybe I don't know his last name, Pedro somebody. He's a YouTuber. He did an extended version of Painkiller from Judas Priest. Man, that guy was awesome. He was just great. I was like, I mean, can I do Painkiller? Yes. I've been very lax on finishing it. The very last part I got down. I do the whole 6 minute, however long it is, 6.5 minutes. I do the whole thing fine. I get to that last 30 seconds, and I know it. I just don't finish up on it the way I need to. But it's so bands I like, bands I want to learn about, bands I want you to learn about. But there are some parts and some drummers I don't touch. You know.
I see. Yeah, I know you mentioned about Death Angel earlier. Did you see my recent one?
I saw it, yes. That's what made me think of it, because normally I don't listen to Death Angel, but I came across it and gave a listen. And again, God bless you. You know, you blast beat me right out of the stadium.
I always think my definition of blast beat's always a little bit different, because I assume you're a big fan of Napalm Death too.
I'm not a big fan of them. No, I know who they are. I appreciate what they do, but I don't listen to them. No.
Well, that's what I consider to be more blast beating sort of thing. I always thought doing like in Death Angel, for instance, I would always call that like galloping, for instance.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was just standard thrash metal because it was all like that sort of thing. So,
right.
So that's mostly what it's been. But
you get a lot of the bands from the Eastern Europe. I don't even know half their names, but you get a lot of them from the Polish, those bands. They're very much into the blast beats and the heavy death metal. Those guys out there they're awesome. They're awesome to hear. I sit back, I'm like, wow, that's some crazy blast beating right there. So, but I just want to be more well-rounded. I want to be able to play country, pop, rock, metal, some death metal, and then blend it all together. Some bands you never heard of. You know, I just try to do the best I can. Add my odd times, add my polyrhythms, take what my drum instructors are giving me, practicing. You know, sometimes before I even do a song, I'll be there, I'll set the metronome, 20, 25 minutes doing the same 5/4 pattern. Just to get myself warmed up, because when I go back to the next drum lesson, I'm going to hear, show me what you did. And if I'm too busy goofing off to Judas Priest and Dokken and whoever else, I'm wasting his time and mine, you know?
Well, it's funny you mentioned about blast beating too, because the gravity blast, which you kind of reference back to Origin too, you can thank actually Charlie Benante from Anthrax from actually being the creator of it, and I think it was quite by accident, because have you ever heard the group SOD, Stormtroopers of Death?
I have, yes.
The first one they ever did with the gravity blast, where they at least credited, was the song Milk. And
Milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, lyrics are kind of funny about it, but even still, if you're just listening to it, that's actually, I can see why they credited it as like the first gravity blast. But he was just kind of doing it like real simple. It was more like drum roll with like on a snare, maybe just like hitting the bass, like boom, 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 that sort of thing, kind of like keeping the beat.
Yeah.
So it was real simple. Nowadays you get like people who are just like doing with double bass extremely fast, like 250, 260 onwards to 300. So thank you, Charlie. You gave us something that they shoot for.
Somebody has to be the first one, right? Somebody has to be the godfather of whatever it is. And if he's the godfather, so be it. I'm circling back a little bit. Do you play an electric kit?
I do, yeah. It's you mentioned earlier about Roland, and that's the one I've been kind of rolling with for a good while.
How do you find that to be, handling, sensitivity, tactile? How do you find that to be closer, not as good as an acoustic? You're not sure because you probably have been playing electric for a while now, so.
Yeah, you get used to it after a while with the electric set, so it comes naturally.
Okay.
I have to admit it was kind of weird because I was actually doing I was trying to actually get into a cover group the one time where we were doing like 90s alternative music.
Right.
And that was the first time playing on an acoustic set. So I think like this might be a little bit of a culture shock, but it actually wasn't. Fortunately, everything was like in close range. I was able to move as quick as I can, and I felt pretty good because I was able to practice it pretty well.
Right.
For me, it was lace easy, so you didn't have to worry about any sort of culture shock. But
right.
I don't really mind. I mean, everything seems good, to at least answer your question.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Right. Actually, I didn't know if you were getting any other questions, but I guess since you mentioned about your hobbies and some of the other stuff you're kind of involved in, just want to elaborate a little bit on each one?
Well, when I left, I got into martial arts exclusively kickboxing, savate, Filipino martial arts, which dealt with knife and stick fighting, ground fighting. I got mainly into that when I left the first band. When I left the first band, like I told you previously, I didn't have a safety net. You know, I was working shitty jobs and whatnot. So when I left the band, they thought it was easy for them to replace me, so they tried and failed. So the band dissolved after, a short while after I left. And I said, okay, I had really long hair, I cut it short, and then a short time after, I just shaved it in rebellion. And unfortunately, Father Time has decided to keep it that way. So now I shave it a lot because it has to be that way.
Now I got the Kerry King, so I'm not going on.
So he's got a longer Viking beard than I do, but so what happened was I said, I always was interested in martial arts. I was always interested in learning something, but I never either had the money or the time. And again, my life up until my mid-20s, was a little bit very much dysfunction, chaotic. I didn't know what direction. I didn't have a direction. No one was providing me a direction. Excuse me. So I left the band. I said, what can I do that I can rely on me? Because when we were recording and touring and supporting bands like Pantera and Warrant and all these other things, I was trying to be the pro's pro. Like I wanted to be like them, but they weren't. So when I broke up, when we left, I said, okay, what can I do for me that no one else can interfere with? So if I get better, it's because of me, not because of these fuckers, right? Or if I don't do well, it's because of me and not these guys. So I called a couple of people and I started to. I was living in New York City. I was living in Queens, which is right on the borderline of Brooklyn and Queens. I was living in Queens. I got a decent job. I was driving a bus. I got my bus license. I was driving a bus for the MTA, which is a big deal, for the mass transit in the city of New York. So I was making a decent amount of money. I had benefits, which is important. And I went to this place, and it was in New Jersey. And I was like, shit, it's about an hour and a half drive through Manhattan. And anybody who knows Manhattan, it's impossible to get from one end to Manhattan, the east to the west side, without, 100,000 things happening. But I went. He was highly recommended, and I was accepted right away. And there was no judgment. It wasn't like, oh, you're broke. You drive a shitty car. You were in a death metal band. You were in a pop band. Well, come in, train, roll, relax, hang out, try, learn, and then I started to feel more validated in my own self. Okay, I can do this. It wasn't easy because these guys were really good at what they did, and there was little parts of it in the beginning where it's pretty much full contact. You had gloves on, you had a mouthpiece, but it was pretty much full contact at certain aspects. And I'm still friends with my instructor now to this day. He really opened my eyes and allowed me to bring all of that dysfunction, anger, poor, negative life and just kind of push it aside. And then I learned how to give, how to share, how to teach, how to screw up and be okay, not to be chastised, not to be reprimanded and screamed at. You get the manager, the tour manager, or the manager in the studio. You fucked up the drums. Do it again. Okay,
All right, everybody calm down.
That fucking happens, dude. And things like that. So it was just a different world. It was like my old world of music was pushed aside, and this whole new thing of fighting, self-defense, not going out beating people up, but I learned that don't judge a book by its cover, because there's 80, there was 80-year-old instructors, there was 15-year-old, I had a 15-year-old kid that can stand in front of you and tell you he's going to kick you in the face, and you couldn't stop it. And that was intriguing to me. How did you do that? How did you get me on the ground and choke me out? How did you do that? How are you using a stick and a knife and attacking me and getting me in the corner? And how did you do that? So I became intrigued, and that I spent 5 days a week, four or 5 days a week, going back and forth. And I started to learn, and I started to grow, and then I became a little more proficient. And then I would fly out to California and train with my guys. And it was just a different environment. I did that for about 5-6 years, nonstop. And I'm fairly, now I teach Filipino stick and knife fighting. I got my certificates over here on the wall there. And so I am certified. I have a linear where it's not like, oh, did you go to Joe Blow? Did you go to a Mick Dojo? No. I have a lot of serious verifications, and I have a lot of people that will testify he went through all this selection process. So I'm pretty vetted that way. And so that's one of my hobbies. And now it became something that became me. I have, just like drums, I have to train in a physical environment. I have to train for my own mental capacity, for therapy, keep me level. Because every time, whether it's drums or whether it's fighting arts, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, when you think you know something, that's when you get your ass handed to you. It's just how it works. And it keeps me grounded. It keeps me humble. It says, okay, I got to work more. I'm a grinder. I work hard. And if a 3-year-old, if a 15-year-old can kick me in the face and knock me down, I want to know, how did you do that? I want to learn. So there's a lot of physical research and development. That's, for me, martial arts. Physical chess. Physical research and development. What can I do to stop you? And then you have to learn how to stop me from stopping you. And it's all it is physical chess. Some of it's stand up, some of it's on the ground, some of it's with weapons, and now I translate it into pistol craft, firearms, pistol, rifle. There's a whole avenue of that opened up my world. You can shoot close. Can you shoot far? Can you shoot on the run? Can you shoot in the rain? Can you shoot multiple targets? Can you shoot? So now that opens up a whole thing. And it's not, I'm trying to be John Wick. I'm not trying to be Rambo. It's none of that. It's about, these are new topics that I've never learned before. And I want to know about that. So I train and I go and I study from ex-Navy SEALs, current legitimate Navy SEALs, not guys that, they say it on YouTube. These are guys that are underground. You don't hear about them. But I train with ex-former military guys, and they do this for a living. And people come from all over the country, all over the world. I have a picture of me and a guy. He came from Germany to train with this guy at the same time I did. And I learned so much. And you think you know until you don't. And it's fun. It's fun to say, for me, I'm an inquisitive guy. How did you do that? What makes that work? How can I do that? What do I need to do? And so that's my process. So it's the fighting, it's the firearms, it's the drums. I used to ride motorcycles cross country. I gave that up last year. This is February. I gave that up last year. It's becoming a little unsafe now with the way people drive. It's not something that it's not part of me anymore. But I used to drive all over the country. I met a lot of wonderful people from everywhere, and there were places that I've been that I would have never gone to on a motorcycle. I mean, on a regular car, I would never go to somebody. But on a motorcycle, it's a cool event. You go. But I gave up motorcycling, so now I just stick. And so now I do my drums, my firearms, learning tactical training, which incorporates knives and ground game, and then my training. I'm pretty busy. I think that takes a lot. So, and then editing drum covers, which takes forever. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I did talk about the
I'm a busy guy. And then in between all that, I'm trying to rest. I'm trying to read. I'm always reading books about somebody. author. It's either a biography or autobiography. Very rarely will I read fiction, but Jack Carr has a series out that I highly recommend. If you're into the military kind of background things, Jack Carr has a series of books that are just top shelf. But usually I'll read. I want to learn about people. I want to learn about how they failed and how they succeeded. I want to learn how I can get better on drums, physically. What do I need to eat? What do I need to stop? It's just an ongoing process of living. And sometimes it's just how it goes. I don't spend a lot of time dilly-dallying.
Originally I was going to say this earlier because you mentioned about Navy SEALs too, but I think I need a quote saying like, I like to be brutalized. It helps my spirit. That sort of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot you can learn from some of that. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL. You could, it's not like I'm waving the flag of there's Green Berets, there's Rangers, Recon, all of those guys, Special Forces, Green Beret, Rangers, they all have something for me in my spirit that I can learn from. Make sure I'm on time. Make sure my bed is made every morning. It's like the first thing I do. Be a little bit more orderly. This is what helps me function. It doesn't help, like my wife is not like that. My wife's the opposite. She goes with the flow and everything's fine. I go with the flow when it needs to be. But certain things, I want to make sure that I'm okay. So it's again, all about learning, brother. Drums is about learning. Training and fighting is about learning. Even just raising a family is about learning. And I'm learning about myself. How can I not be an asshole anymore? How can I be better at this? How can I show more kindness here? It's an ongoing process, my friend. I don't have all the answers. That's why I keep trying. If I had all the answers, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you'd probably be rich and famous at some point.
Maybe I'd be on a mountaintop in Peru somewhere. I don't know, but I don't have the answers. But I keep trying.
Absolutely, too. That's all we ask. All right. So we talked for about an hour and 30 minutes here, so I think we have to go through a lightning round right now with the fun questions. All right. So here's some of the fun questions. What is your favorite alcoholic drink?
I don't drink a lot of alcohol, but when I do, it's usually
Dos Equis.
It's no. Well,
I mean, come on, you were setting yourself up there.
Yeah,
so.
No. I usually drink beer from the Abbot monasteries. So there's about 12 breweries in the world that make monastery beer, and I usually touch on all of them. So it's West Verlanting, which you can only get if you go to there in person. A lot of the Belgian beers, Roquefort, St. Bernardus, Zundert from Amsterdam. That's what I mainly drink. As far as alcohol is concerned, Bailey's Cream. I'm really, as for an Irishman, I'm pretty much a lightweight. I don't drink a lot of the hard stuff anymore. It made me a very bad person when I was younger. I don't think it's best serving me. I don't partake in it anymore. It's not for me. So mainly Abbott beers from the monasteries is what I normally drink when I drink, which isn't that often. Next question.
Well, I did the Mets. When he said Abbott, too, I was thinking the Abbott brothers who formed Pantera, Dimebag, and Vinny.
No, not those guys.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been awesome. Okay. Favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Chocolate milk for flavor, for taste. Yeah, it is for flavor. And it's
I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty.
By the way, it's good for after a run. Supposedly it helps you after a run. I take it. I just like the way it tastes. But pretty much water now. I've just spent last 8 days off of coffee. I was on a coffee kick for the last 6 years in a row, every single day, pounding the caffeine. Today is day 8 of no coffee. So if you would have asked me a week or two ago, pretty much coffee. Now it's pretty much chocolate milk and some water at this point.
I actually chugged 2 of those cups yesterday with chocolate milk, so I admit I probably had to chug like a giant glass of water just to kind of rehydrate myself after a nice workout.
Have to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I should have did, but I wanted chocolate milk. I was craving chocolate milk. So, all right. Here's the next one. Was there ever a song that was too tough for you to play, and you either gave up or you came back to try to finish it?
Oh, I'm doing that now. Yes, there is a song. There is a song, and I'm just about done with it. It was impossible. Parts are ridiculous. There's multi-odd time changes. The guy's an octopus. You would think he's an octopus the way he plays. And yes, I'm not going to tell you the song, but I'll tell you the band. The band is Arc. They're no longer around. They have 2 albums out. And Arc is... one of those songs is ridiculous. So it took me 5 or 6 months to get... It took me about 3 months to get the base of it down. But the intricacies and making sure I was in time with the odd times, making sure those are right, and getting all the other things, it's taken a while. Yes. Yeah. There haven't been many that I've given up on. The Evergrey song, Weightless, is a small part. That took about a month because I just couldn't hear. Sometimes, in the studio, these guys are mixing things, and I don't know how it's coming. So it took a while for me to figure out that part. But Arc has been the longest one for me at this point. But it's going to get wrapped up. It's February 12th, so we're looking at, I'm probably going to try to have it out sometime by the end of this month or mid-March. And it's my hardest one to date, by far.
Sounds good. Good luck to you, brother.
Thank you, my friend.
Would you also consider that, when you do release it, would you consider that your favorite drum cover, or do you have another one?
It's my favorite drum cover only because it's my favorite drum cover now because I'm always working on getting it down. There's nothing better than saying I got this shit. So my favorite, I don't have a favorite drum cover. For me, they're all different in its own way. I like how I improvised and embellished the Diana Ross song, I'm Coming Out. I like that. I'm proud of Welcome Home by King Diamond, because that one's a tough one to deal with. But other than Sabaton, All Guns Blazing, that was a cool one. I guess another Sabaton that's in the pot right now. So, but no, other than a small handful, I don't have a favorite. They're all the same.
I see. I forgot to ask, who have you considered to be your biggest influences? I'm sure you mentioned it throughout the interview, but... There
is a laundry list a mile long. No, I didn't. We didn't talk about it before.
I guess let's do top 5 just for the
all
sake
right,
of
top
brevity.
5 in no order. But for metal and John Macaluso, who's one of my favorites of all time. Simon Phillips, another all-time great. I like Gavin Harrison, Achilles Priester from Angra. Those are just the 5 off the top of my head. But you can go on and on. Joe Franco, Jonathan Mover, it goes on forever. You know what I mean? Phil Collins, but the Scott Travis, before he was in Judas Priest, he was in Racer X. Some of the drums that he did in Racer X are ridiculous. But a guy like, even someone off the radar, for me, off the radar, is, he's like a Louisiana guy. Oh, Jesus, what's his name?
We'll say Jimmy Bower from Down, but maybe not.
No, it's, God damn it. Hold on a second. It should be on my phone. Because he, you can ask me something else, I'll get back to you on it. Oh, Stanton Moore. Stanton Moore. Yeah. Normally, most people who listen to death metal or rock or prog, guys from DGM, I forget his name is Fabio. I forget his last name. He's an Italian. He's from the rock band DGM. His double bass is insane. But I listen to bands mainly because of the guitar. Mainly. Swedish band Manimal, vocals, Queensryche, the whole band, Schenker, mainly because of the guitar.
That's all they get you in, yeah.
Yeah, TNT because of the guitar and the vocals. Loudness because of the guitar. Stryper, Robert Sweet, another great drummer, underrated. Alex Van Halen, he should be up he's in my top 5. I'll take Gavin Harrison out. I'll put Alex Van Halen in. But they're all unique. They all are amazing. It's like I can't choose. So I do what Bruce Lee does. I take what each one of them appeals to me, and I try to make it mine. But those are the top 5. Macaluso, Simon Phillips, Randy Black, Alex Van Halen, and then Tied for fifth is 1,700 other people.
Okay. That sounds pretty good. All right. Just wanted to make sure we didn't miss that one. Otherwise, we're going to have to do another one in the future.
Yeah. You forgot. And Eric F. He's in there too.
Okay. Actually, would you put him at number 6 then? Since
I'll put him at 5A.
5.5. There we go. Okay.
5.5. That's a good one.
All right. I think we got all those ones. We got actually 2 more questions. One more fun one, then one serious one. But for the last fun one here, what's currently your favorite song?
Oh, my favorite song currently happens to be. I woke up to it today, and I don't know why, but my favorite song currently is Kiss. And I know Kiss is always the ground level for everything, but I go back to either Calling Dr. Love and Making Love. Those two have been rattling around in my head for days. Is it my favorite song? You know what my favorite song is? Aldo Nova, Fantasy. That's my favorite song, tied with UFO's Lights Out. Lights Out, the original version of Lights Out, I will listen to 2 billion times.
Lights Out in London.
Yes, because Schenker did that too. It was like the first. I don't know if someone did it before, but it was the first time I noticed he did 2 guitar solos, and the tone and the sound. I mean, if you go back and listen to it, you guys, you listen to that Schenker sound when he was with UFO. It's talk about the Godfather. There was nobody doing that. Deep Purple, those guys weren't doing it. Zeppelin wasn't doing it. Whoever else was around weren't doing it. But Schenker had that tone, and he was amazing. So Lights Out for the guitar. Aldo Nova, he also had a pretty good guitar part. Fantasy, but good rhythm. It was unexpected. It's got a catchy tune. That's another one of my little, secret pleasures. I listen to that tune constantly. I don't care where it is. If it's on, I'm listening to it.
It's funny when you mention about Kiss, because I interviewed... Do you know the drummer Bjarne Johansson?
No.
He's a member of our drum community, and he plays strictly Kiss. He really loves Kiss. And I haven't checked out... I'm sure he did Calling Dr. Love at some point, but he's done all Kiss covers, so I recommend you check him out.
Yeah, can you send me the link to his page? I'll be glad to check him out.
Sure. All right.
Cool.
All right, so Barry, we're down to the last question right here. I guess, did you have any other questions or any words you want to say before we jump to it?
No, I just hope I didn't bore anybody to death with this conversation. I felt maybe I spoke too much, I don't know, but if you learned something from it, great. If not, I'm sorry that you wasted your time, but if you want to check out different variations, please go to my YouTube channel and check it out. Give me a thumbs up, give me some suggestions, what you think you might want to hear, or what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong, and I'll be more than happy to work with people in the community. So no real other questions, my friend.
Well, you won't be the first one. I made it 2 hours, but don't worry, we might split this one up into 2 parts. So
well, you might split it up, or you might edit all the extra shit that I've been telling you. Who knows?
Well, I'll let you know at some point, but it might be sometime in April. But regardless, here's the last question for you. Given what COVID has done, since it affected everybody in some sort of way, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there?
That one is rough because COVID really put the dagger in the music industry. People aren't playing out. I mean, they are now, but in general, COVID really took away a lot of opportunities for musicians, pro and amateur and up and coming, to go out and do what they need to do. My message would be, if this is what you really want to pursue, give it all that you have. We all know the music business is rough, even before COVID. Very few people make it in the industry, which is why the Rolling Stones are in their 90s and they're still playing. A lot of these bands, they break up, and I was one of them. I was lost. I didn't have anything. That was my identity. So I would say I'm not going to say have a backup plan, but be kind to yourself and say, if it doesn't work out, it's fine. Don't, I don't want it to sound morbid, but don't hurt yourself. Don't kill yourself. It's just music. There's other outlets. There's cover bands. You may move to another country and hook up with someone and do music that way. Don't just put all your eggs in that one little teeny band basket, and if it doesn't work, your whole world sucks. I've done that, and it took a while for me to realize that's not a good strategy. Not just for yourself, but for your loved ones and the people around you. So go and give 100% of when you're doing it, but then if it doesn't pan out, be mindful to open up other doors and be kind to yourself. And it's not always black or white. There's all that gray in between that you can use. So, like, for example, you're doing a podcast. Other people can become directors or engineers. And so there's other avenues to explore. Just don't be closed-minded is what message I would bring. Do your best. Learn your craft. Don't just do this half-ass and expect to be opening up for, Judas Priest. You have to earn your way, but be realistic and flow. When it flows, you flow. Don't be rigid, because sometimes flowing is what you need to do to get past some of the hard times. That would be my suggestion.
Spoken like a true prodigy. All right. All right.
Just
if you know where that line came from.
Someone that's been through all the hard knocks. That's all.
That's true. Actually, yeah, you should do like Hard Knocks, that sort of thing, starring Barry Dee. Or I think even people would like to see like some of the hobbies you do. Maybe that would actually be pretty interesting to see. So, nice little idea for you there.
Yeah, something else. Yeah, something else to put into my life. Yes, we'll see. I mean, those are all good ideas in theory, but it's like nobody knows me. Who am I for someone to take wisdom from? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm not the Dalai Lama.
I mean, hey, you just throw it out there, to be honest, and see what happens. I mean, that's how it normally goes.
You never know. I just got done saying be open-minded. So I need to be open-minded also. So with that, I thank you for your suggestion. Thank you for your time and your interest in speaking to me. I hope somebody got something out of it. If they want to reach out to me personally, they can. And if not, that's fine. I'll still be putting out more videos as they come out.
All right. Sounds good there, John.
Brian, thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate that.
It's all right. Actually, I called you John. Sorry.
Call me John. All right, it's okay. I've been called worse. Don't worry.
No, you know what? I kind of lost it there. That shows my attention span starting to lose it there. So
no worries. We'll cut it short. So when can I? You say in about April or so. This will be ready for display.
It would have to be something like that because I got a few artists to deal with first. But first, we got to close out right here. So everyone, my guest today was Barry Dee, not John, as I said earlier, but Barry Dee. And make sure you go subscribe to his channel. I guess where else can I hit you up on social media?
I'm pretty much right now on Facebook and YouTube as Barry Dee. I believe I'm Razor Train 1 on Instagram, but I don't post too much on there right now. But those are that's where you can find me.
All right, sounds good. All right, Barry, thank you again so much for coming on.
Brian, thank you
nice
very
words of
much.
wisdom.
It was excellent to talk with you, and you have a safe rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you,
Stay safe.
All right, bye-bye.
Stay tuned, y'all.
Thank you.